if you are wanting to see some anatomy A&P videos, then you're in the right spot. What I'm going to do is divide up some of the chapters that we haven't gotten to into smaller sections and then do video on those smaller sections that will go along with your packet. So when you get your next packet, then these videos that I'm going to do right now will be labeled accordingly so you can match them up and you can follow along in the notes and also watch the video. So I really have exactly no idea what I'm doing. So you're just going to have to be patient with me. So I'm going to try and pull up the PowerPoint for the Chapter 9 nervous system. And you will be able to see that. So I'm not really sure if you are still seeing me or if you are only seeing the PowerPoint, but it doesn't matter either way. So I'm just going to read them off just like I would normally in class. So you can keep up, you can study, pretty much be the same thing as it always was for you because you just took the information and then studied it. You can also go and find your Quizlets that should still be on there and you can study that way as well. So I'm just going to get started on this first section. Let me just check one thing. Yeah, so your PowerPoints are going to look like they always have. It's going to have the name of the chapter, then it's going to have what section it is. Usually when I change sections, it's yellow, so that's kind of how you know that I changed section. I do not think that my videos will play for you, but I do not know that. So what I would need you to do if you wanted to watch the video is just type the name of that video in on YouTube for yourself if you wanted to watch it. You don't have to watch the videos if you don't want to, but if you want to watch the videos then and they won't play on yours, then just go to YouTube and type the name of that in and you should be able to get it. All right, so here we go. Starting on the first section, we're just going to kind of establish what the nervous system is and what its jobs are. So the nervous system coordinates and controls the functions of all the body parts so that they work as a unit and respond to changes in ways that help maintain a stable internal environment. So this brings us back to homeostasis, something that we have talked about a lot this year that I think is one of the most important things is homeostasis, that stable environment where everything kind of works in the way that it should within the limits, like not too high, not too low, everything functions as it should. So the nervous system's job is to coordinate all that. When you think of a coordinator, somebody that brings everything together, and kind of like the principal coordinates all the teachers and helps them kind of work together for the common good or goal of all the students. So that's kind of what the nervous system does. Note number 2, the nervous system can be defined as a system of cells, tissues, and organs that regulates the body's responses to external and internal stimuli. So we've already studied the levels of organization. We've already studied cells, tissues, organs, organ systems, which we are on now, and then the whole entire organism. So the nervous system is made up of all of those, and they just work together. And they're going to regulate basically all the stimuli. That means just all the things that are coming into the body from external and things that are internal. Information from inside and outside the body is brought to the brain and the spinal cord, and these then stimulate responses from your muscles and glands. So you're going to get information. Now, this information could be things going on inside your body, inside your organs, but it could be things outside that are coming in through your senses, like what you're seeing or hearing or tasting or touching. So your nervous system is going to take this information that's coming in through some kind of stimuli, and it's going to help coordinate those responses with your muscles and glands. So in other words, the nervous system is the controlling and communicating system of the body. So it controls, works together, communicates, to get all the jobs done that need to get done. So note number 3, the organs of the nervous system are composed of nervous tissue, connective tissues, and blood. Think back to our tissue chapter. You should still have all of your notes. I hope that you kept them. So you have our tissue chapter where we studied all the different types of tissues. So you have in the nervous system, you have nervous tissue, obviously, but you also have connective tissue, including also blood as a type of that tissue. The nervous system is divided into 2 main groups. So we have our central nervous system and our peripheral nervous system. So the first one, that you can't really say one is more important than the other, but the central nervous system is where your brain is. So the central nervous system, or the CNS, is your brain and spinal cord, and it functions to coordinate all of the body's activities. It kind of makes me think of if somebody's getting married and you have a coordinator, you have a wedding planner, you have somebody that takes all the different things that are part of the wedding, and that one person is responsible for pulling all of those things together and making sure that everything goes well. So that's kind of what the central nervous system is, being the brain and the spinal cord. You can also think central, because think of your brain and your spinal cord are kind of making up the central part of your body. So that's an easy way to remember it. The central nervous system relays messages, processes information, and then analyzes responses. So in other words, it kind of takes that information in, processes it, figures out what it is, and then analyzes what kind of response, what's going to happen because of this. And then we have our peripheral nervous system, or PNS. You can call it either one. And think of peripheral as kind of meaning on the outside. So think of your peripheral vision. So like if you were to think, can I see something way over here? That's my peripheral vision. So peripheral meaning more to the outside. So these are your peripheral nerves. That means the nerves that are kind of to the side or on the outside of your brain and spinal cord. So these connect to your central nervous system. They connect your central nervous system to all the rest of your body parts. Your PNS, or peripheral nervous system, collects information about the body's external and internal environment. Basically, the PNS, peripheral nervous system, are all the nerves outside the brain and the spinal cord. So this is a pretty good picture. If you'll look at the first one, the CNS, that's your brain and your spinal cord. And then the PNS, or peripheral nervous system, you can see it's just all those nerves that are going from your brain and your spinal cord to the rest of your body. Skip that video. Note number 5, the nervous system provides 3 general functions. So it's going to do 3 big main things. So the first function that it does is called a sensory function. You need to think of your senses, like when you see something or hear or smell or taste or touch. So in other words, gathering information. That's what your senses do, is they gather information to bring into your body. The sensory function is to monitor changes occurring inside and outside of the body. And remember, a change is just a stimuli, something that's happening inside or outside your body. Like if you turn the lights off, that's a stimuli that would cause your pupils to react in a certain way. Then if you turn them back on, then that's a different stimuli that's also going to cause a change. Our next type of function is called an integrative function. And this is to process and interpret sensory input and decide if action is needed. So the integrative function comes after the sensory function. So we've already seen something or heard it or smelled it. We've already maybe put our hand on a hot eye, and that sense is coming into our body. So the integrative function is basically going to process that and kind of decide, does the body need to do something in response to whatever that was. And then that brings us to the last one, which is a motor function. And whenever you see motor, you want to think muscles. We already had our muscle chapter, so we've already discussed that. So this is going to be after the second step. This is going to be our response to that integrated stimuli that's going to activate muscles or glands. Something in the body is going to happen. into the body. Then the body kind of decides what to do with it. And then the motor function is where, well, what is it going to actually do with that information? So this is also a pretty good picture to let you understand what's going on with these 3 steps. So you have sensory input. This is showing an eye, but it could be hearing something or smelling or tasting or touching. So then it's going to go into the brain where we have integration, your brain and your spinal cord, where we're going to like analyze it and see what's going on, and does something need to be done? Does the body need to do something with that? And then it moves to motor output, which is where something is actually going to happen, where your muscles are going to use that. Skip over that video. So that brings us to the end of the first section of notes. So that's as far as this video is going to go. And now I'm going to try to figure out how to get out of here. Y'all are just going to have to be patient with me a little bit while I'm figuring out how all of this works. So what you can do is you can read those notes, you can study those notes, you can do your Quizlet, you can get on Google Classroom, you can really use any online things at all that anybody has done. So lots of teachers have done online things for you for the nervous system. So you could find another teacher's quizzes game, or a Kahoot, or another teacher's Quizlet, or my Quizlet. Basically anything that might be titled Introduction to the Nervous System, and you could use that to pair along with the notes that I'm sending you for section 9.1, Introduction to the Nervous System. So I will also be including in this packet several more sections of the nervous system, so you can just read them and study them and watch the videos that match with them. I'll try to make sure and match the video with a title that lets you know which section of the notes to do. So that pretty much takes care of it. So I hope that that helps. And if you have any questions, you can either send me a remind or just to my school email. If something's not showing up, or you don't understand something, or you need help with something, I'll be glad to help you if you just let me know. All right. I hope you have a great day. And let's see if I can figure out how to get out.